Nice to see you, bud.
Hey, Paulie, man.
Yeah. Good to see you guys too. I've been thinking about you a lot, and
There he is.
So this is where I'm relegated to the office, my office under construction. So that's why I've got the
Oh,
backdrop.
nice.
Yeah, I got that one.
I don't know about that
one.
playoff.
Yeah. Binged All or Nothing yesterday.
What has everyone watched it? And what did you think?
I haven't watched any of it.
I was hesitant.
Yeah.
Chad saw it and was recommending it to me, and I was like, yeah, I want to see it. But every time I had the time to watch some, I couldn't bring myself to watch it. I was like, I don't know if I'm ready. And it's great. It's really interesting, and obviously it's incredibly well shot. And it's just great to see, the way, particularly the coaching and management decisions and the sort of the moment to moment, day to day stuff is going on behind the scenes. It made me feel better about the fact that when I'm shouting at the TV, being like, why aren't they doing anything about this? Sheldon Keefe is doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes.
I found it was really good therapy for last season, and it makes you realize like all these guys, they're sometimes they're stumped, but sometimes it just doesn't work. You sort of do relive a little bit of the playoff disappointment. For sure.
That's where I'm at right now. I'm in the playoff hangover again.
I felt so much better seeing their reactions. So if you haven't watched it, Paul, have you watched it?
I just finished episode 2 last night. So don't tell me how it ends.
That's the thing. Everybody knows the ending.
I'm guessing the answer is nothing.
What's weird is in episode 5, I was like, I'm so into this. I so love these guys that I was like, maybe at the end of this episode, it ends differently.
Man, it's kind of interesting where, because it's men talking to men, right? Like men of ego. Like, Sheldon Keefe was a player. He knows what it takes to win. He just coached a championship team, and he knows what they're going to need. The losses and the wins that it takes in order to build a championship team. Mm-hmm. So when he doesn't see them having to face that adversity, or he doesn't see the reaction to it, then you can tell how he is. Now he's supposed to go to these guys and talk to them about it. So these little conversations that he has with the guys, they don't really, oftentimes he doesn't really face up to it with the player. He just talks around it to give them the impression of how he feels. When he's talking to the younger players, like he did with Mikheyev and VC, he's a lot more direct, and same with Dubas. But it's funny talking to these other veterans and champions when it's Jumbo Joe or if it's Tavares, the tone kind of changes.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a respect for their time in the league and their experience and how you're right, how he handles them. And that's got to be an interesting thing as a coach. Isn't Joe the same age or older?
Yeah,
like your player's older
than
you.
Probably. Yeah,
it's like,
and as a former player, like they're way better players than he ever was.
All the best to Jumbo Joe and his retirement in Florida, and I hope he finds the condo he's looking for down there.
Yeah, and stays away from anything COVID related.
Yes.
Yeah, you said condo, right?
Well, we're gonna see him again, aren't we? Aren't they in our division this year?
Oh yeah. Does Joe get a video when he comes back for the one season that he was as a Leaf? He's almost the kind of guy where you're like, we probably should. It's Joe,
Hey man, I think it was episode 2 or maybe episode 3 where he breaks his stick over the guy, like grabs the stick, goes right back at him, and then just spends the next 10 minutes lecturing him on how he should be just ashamed of himself.
That was so great. That I remember watching that last year, and I was like, wonder what he's saying. And then you get to. So one of the reasons to watch John is you get to see what Joe said.
Part of me, though, it's also about like looking behind the curtain or whatever, right? I'm so used to seeing these guys as like you just see them during the hockey games, right? And, from the era when we grew up, like you heard rumblings of somebody, 2 guys on the team not liking each other or whatever it was, but you never really kind of got back there. So that part of me is like a hesitancy to get in the kitchen with them, I guess, or something.
You do want to see behind the scenes, or you don't want
No, I don't. It's like I don't want to break the fantasy of,
right.
that
it's all a big happy family.
Yeah.
Right.
For me, at least. seeing how the sausage was made made me feel better about the sausage. It's a pretty tight organization.
Even the guys that were there for one season, it felt like that was a tight group. And I think that one thing that's come out of that, with guys like Joe and Bogo going, and that I think the guys that are still here are carrying that torch now through. And it's guys like Spezza that are still here that are awesome for that type of thing. But I think the younger guys learned that. And from what I've seen in, practice stuff, the preseason games, they're trying to make this bonding happen like right away. And that's what good teams have to.
Without that chemistry, I mean, you're adding yet another thing to fight uphill against. I mean, every team's got enough to fight uphill against.
And every team's changing fast. That's the nature of the business now. New guys are coming and going. So here's a segment for us. Who's the new guy who are you most excited to see of the new players that have joined the team?
As a defense guy, it's time for our young defense to climb up. So I'm excited to see Liljegren and Sandin. I think between those two guys, we've got to get one surprise defenseman out of the two. And both of them have to, it's to the point now where I think a full season of this amount of games heading into the playoffs is going to show whether or not one of them is going to be an offensive power for us and develop, make some mistakes, and get their game in gear in time for the playoffs. So I'm looking at our young defense core between Sandin and Liljegren. One of those guys. Liljegren, I think, is who I'm excited about.
Interesting. Cool. I have the most concerns about him.
Well, that's
all right. Well, there you go. Locker room rivalry on the dunk.
I love it. Yeah. So actually, we're thinking about doing some bets and stuff this year. We could already do one. Yeah. Do you want to? I'm going to bet against Liljegren not sticking. If you think he's going to stick.
Yes.
All right.
I'm actually. I'm not thinking that. I'm hoping that. So it's not like if you have more information than I have about him, then you let me know. But
not at all.
Just on the basis of what I've seen and on his career building up to this point right now, this year I'm thinking if he comes onto the team with a regular role, I think he'll stay with the team, and you think he won't.
That's right. Saying? Yep. So we got something. We got something to track. We've got
something to bet on.
I love it.
CM is a thumbs down for Liljegren, and PZ is a thumbs up.
I don't think he's progressed far enough. Literally, I have no information. Just an eye test of what when I'm watching games. I'm like, I don't know. Like Sandin, I feel way more confident about.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well that makes it more exciting because I think Sandin, like he's a young player coming into the playoffs last year, and some of that showed, but he also did some flashy, fun, exciting stuff too. So Sandin, good. Let's set him aside. This is a good one. What are we going to bet? Leafs hat. You got to buy loser.
Love it.
A Leafs hat for the other guy.
Love it. Oh, by the way,
if there's any available by the time we're in the third round of the playoffs, you have to buy one.
You guys are mug twins again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So great.
The cup is back. That's going to be a theme for the year. Cup is back.
Well, I'm wearing my swag that I bought for the playoff run last year, which sadly arrived after the playoff run last year.
Let's see it.
my
oh yeah,
Nylander,
Willie Styles,
my Nylander jersey. So yeah, Willie Styles. How about you, John? Who's your new guy?
First of all, follow up to the Liljegren, Sandin, Dermott, I guess, conversation is, are all three of them going to be ready for when we trade Morgan Riley?
Well, that's an interesting segue off of this. Thought we're supposed to be doing tight 30-second segments.
Got to signal your turns, John. Got to signal your turns.
Okay, so new guy.
Let's put a pin in that one and let's come back to that. That's a very important point.
New guy. I've been watching kind of Richie versus Bunting to figure out who's going to go up on that top line. I think it's Richie. And, Bunting will be down, wherever, maybe in the Mikheyev spot now or something. But those two guys are, interesting. Less of a sample size, I think, on Bunting's career. But Richie, a couple of preseason games I watched of him, he was all over the place with Marner. It was working really well. So.
Okay, but you got to pick one.
It's Richie, yeah.
I'm sort of like with John. I'm really curious, but the Bunting Richie sort of setup. But I'm more curious to see Bunting because I think there's a smaller sample size of his career. The 21 games last year, getting 10 goals. Is that just a fluke, or is he that guy that is in that position? That is he the Hyman replacement where he's just mucking it up, apparently he's got a bit of a Gallagher-like attitude. So I like the idea of us having a Darcy Tucker-ish kind of dude. If that's what he's, the modern version of that, nobody can be that again in this league.
Yeah, there's no more Tuckers.
But I'm really curious to see how he works out, and if he's got that edge, that would be really cool.
So John is on Richie. You're on Bunting. Is that another bet, or are you guys just happy to?
No, it's just
see
the vote.
I have another bet over under Hyman more points with McDavid and Draisaitl, or more points last year with Matthews and Marner.
I guess averaged out as over an 82 game season.
Points per game.
He didn't play. Hey, hang on a second. He didn't, like, Jumbo Joe spent a lot of time on that first line, and so did other guys. So I don't think we can do that. He didn't play a full season. If he plays a full season with those guys, he's gonna light it up.
Okay, so what if we do it this way? Since Richie is likely going to be on that line with Matthews and Marner, and is the Hyman replacement, who gets more points, Hyman or Richie?
Hyman v. Richie.
Ooh,
I'm gonna say Richie.
Oh, I like it. I want to, but there's a part of me that's like the only points that get scored in Edmonton because the rest of their team just sucks. The rest of the team sucks. Didn't they sign Duncan Keith?
Yeah,
wheel him out. I'm going to go with. I think Hyman's going to get more points than Richie.
Hyman gave his body to the Leafs, and he's going to spend most of the time in the IR. Ooh. So I'm going to go with Richie.
Oh,
nice,
John. And John, who are you?
I go with Hyman. I think, you're right. All the points on Edmonton are scored on that line. They have Mike Smith in net. They have to score 6 goals a night in order to break even. So
I just scored a goal on Mike Smith, actually. That's why I was late.
While you were getting coffee.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to go back to one other guy that I'm looking forward to seeing this year, and that's Curtis Gabriel. I mean, he's so big, and he's so capable of showing people how big he is. Yeah, if he plays, it'll be fun. We need a couple of big guys like that aren't gonna. But we'll see. We'll see what the league is like this year. But it seems to be swinging a little bit more towards the grit side of things.
Yeah, it's getting tougher out there.
Last season.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to seeing Simmons back. I can't wait. I hope his wrist holds up.
You're talking earlier about adversity and stuff. I think it might actually be good that we're in a division with Tampa and Florida and Boston. In hindsight, we had it a bit too easy during the regular season last year.
I agree. Yeah, I think so. Plus, I really am looking forward to seeing games against Philly and Boston and anybody else, and to the point where I'm like, really, after all of last year, we have to start the season against Montreal and Ottawa. Like, I know that's sort of a tradition thing. Maybe it would have been more fun to mix it up and have all the teams play people you didn't see last year 700 times.
Yeah.
I am curious about Richie, hence my backing him versus Hyman. And what's Andre? Is it Case? Kasha? How do you pronounce that? Kasha?
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
What's the story there?
Yeah, concussion issues, lots of talent. Played with Boston. I don't know. He hasn't really stuck out in the preseason that I've seen, but he's a guy that could really do some stuff, apparently.
In a certain way, you mentioned Simmons. I feel like he is still kind of a new guy. Like, we never got the full impact last year.
I agree. I think this year there'll be a lot more Wayne train than we got last year. I think he's got a lot more to give to the team, provided he can stay on the ice.
Yeah, who can call up who we lost? That's a good question. Like, who did we lose this season, and what's going to happen? Like, because I looked at the biggest impact, and the one player that I keep forgetting that we lost is Zach Bogosian, and I'm like, fuck, man, I like that guy.
Him.
Yeah, we are going to miss him, and I'm thinking I liked him. He's strong, he's tough, he's reliable. He's like
to John's point. Talking
like
grit.
A young Michael McDonald.
He was grit.
You know what? When you're out there and you're looking for somebody
delivering the hits,
for somebody to back you up, Bogo would always say, "Yamo, be there."
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, here
you
we go.
Forgetting.
But what's awesome about I last year I was the huge Bogo fan. That guy's reliability, his toughness. He just was like a rock, and it was never like, oh, here we go. Like, as a comparison to Cody Ceci was like cheaper money too. And people, I remember when Bogo came, they're like, oh, okay, whatever. It's like, that he's a dude that you need in the playoffs. Are you still laughing about Yamo be there? That's not my goal.
Every time.
My goal of the podcast is to get you to laugh about a music reference.
It's true. Yeah, it happens every time. Come on, man. You think you could just trade him off to some other team and then it's not going to make a difference? You know?
Yeah.
That's what a fool believes.
Yeah, you're right. You know,
We just keep going.
we could.
Yeah.
So the list of people we lost was Freddie, Joe, Bogo, Hyman. Oh, Galchenyuk.
Yeah, Galchenyuk. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
signed
yeah.
with the Coyotes.
You know, there's a guy that's like, when he came in, it was great. He worked hard. He did what they told him to. He went down to the minors, and he made one really big bonehead play in the playoffs, but also played one game where he was like dominant in the playoffs.
Yep.
And then, you know, the Leafs give him this chance, which is effectively like, hey man, you're kind of done, and we're going to take a flyer on you and mold you into something. And from what I understand, they made him an offer, and he was like, I'm going to shop around and see what I can get. And now he signed for league minimum in Phoenix.
So nobody said most like the new guy that they were interested in our new goalie.
Oh,
And maybe it might be a tandem, right?
Mrazek?
And you know, the loss of Freddie, like, will Campbell and him, you know, will they deliver the mail or whatever?
I have a lot of confidence in our goaltending this year.
Has Mrazek won or been on a winning team?
I don't think he was on the cup winning team. How long ago was that? And what I've seen of him in the preseason, I like him. I think Mrazek, I think it's great. They're going to push each other. I could see him stealing the number one job. He looked super calm in that.
Really?
And he looked like he was just like calm, taking it, great glove, solid play. Let's see. Other topics we had for our episode one was who's your neighbor?
Hey, neighbor.
Like what division are we in and who's, but I think we kind of know. We're in with Boston, Tampa, Florida, Montreal, Ottawa, right? We still have to suffer with them.
Yep, I think so.
Detroit? Does that sound right?
I guess we could look it up.
Or we could just yell out San Jose, Colorado.
Or it's
New
more
York.
fun. It's more fun to do
New
that.
York Islanders, but not the Rangers.
Yeah.
Islanders. Oh, they're those people. Sabres. Oh yeah, the Sabres,
Oh, the Sabres.
which is awesome. We get to play an AHL team like 4 or 5 times. Man, Jack Eichel.
They'll beat us at a critical
We're in the
time.
Atlantic
They'll come
Division,
back.
is that right?
Yeah.
5-1.
What's that?
We're in the
They'll
Atlantic
come back
Division.
from a 5-1 lead to fucking beat us in the third period at exactly
Actually,
the wrong
that's-
time when we need to have momentum.
Oh,
That's going to be our nemesis this year, right? Is the Sabres will beat us every game. They'll lose against everyone
It's true.
except for us, and they'll have some
They'll fuck us in the standings.
some guy from the hot dog stand will have to come in and play net and post a shutout.
I can't believe I'm losing to this guy.
just
We got-
humiliate us.
We got the Bruins, the Sabres, the Red Wings, Panthers, Canadians, Senators, Lightning, and then us. So
I'm super excited about the Red Wings. Super excited about that team.
Yeah.
I love the rivalry that we ended up having with the Red Wings all those years.
Yeah.
So
yeah, me too.
let's get playing again. They got a really good, fast, young team. I think they're going to scare the shit out of people. So
They're this year's Ottawa Senators. Maybe.
Yeah.
Like, everyone was writing Ottawa off last year. So.
not me. Yeah.
Say not you, Paul. You're
No,
on side
rewind
of
the tape.
Saints.
Yeah, rewind the tape. I remember, I knew what was coming with Stützle, and I thought that they were a fast preseason team, and
Totally.
and that it's just like those, because that kind of reminded me of us when we ended up dumping all of our older players, and we had this young core, and they're an exciting team to watch, and you never know what can happen. They're going to steal games. They're going to have this great vibe going on. They could get on little runs, but they're not going to go anywhere over the long term. But still, that's what all those young, super talented, high draft pick teams are fun, except for Edmonton, are really, fun, and they can all develop into that's the thing. You can become a Chicago Blackhawks, sort of
Connor Brown, and they got Connor
dynasty.
Brown, baby.
Yeah.
Connor Brown.
Connor Brown, and it's always good to have a Kachuk
Is
if you
it?
can.
Is it though?
And do they?
It is.
No,
It is.
I know. I
Yeah.
know.
Is he the holdout or is it his brother? One of them's a holdout still.
It's him, actually.
Yeah.
Him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they may not have it to Chuck. It might be blown to chunks.
You gotta pay that man his money.
Do you think we win the division or not?
No.
Doesn't
I think
matter.
it's gonna be tight no matter what. It's gonna be. It's no one. I don't think anybody's gonna run away with it.
Yeah, I think we make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think
Tampa Bay is going to be at the top like usual. Yeah.
Do they do a three-peat? I'm saying no.
No, they lost some guys. They're going to lose a little bit of rhythm.
They lost. Yeah. Well, was it Yanni Gord's gone and Coleman's gone? Like that line.
Yeah, and
those are difference makers.
And we're going to have. Hopefully, the league will have a close eye on the moves that they make. They were skirting the rules in order to have a more powerful team. I think that was fair.
We used it to our advantage.
Yeah,
didn't
not
work
to the same extent.
It didn't work.
Not to the Kucherov level.
Yeah, not to the same extent like where they won the cup and we didn't make it past the first round. That's the extent.
Good point.
In the one that got away segment, any free agents that you were hoping we were going to sign this year out there? This probably required some homework that probably none of us did because I can't think of anyone.
Defense wise as well too. I like Oliver Ekman-Larsson. And I've always liked Seth Jones. So Seth Jones comes with a big price tag. Ekman-Larsson, I thought was a gettable guy. I like his offensive abilities, hard work guy. He was always buried down there in Phoenix, and but I've always watched him thinking that he's a good player. So I'm bummed. I thought we could have picked him up.
I had him on my hockey pool. You don't want that guy.
I don't think he's not a numbers guy in that kind of way. I just think he's a good, solid D.
Google his first bag skate with the Canucks.
Oh, really?
He's looking. He needs to hit some conditioning.
Maybe his time is up. Who knows?
Really?
Yeah.
That's too bad. Okay.
I'm down on that dude.
Well, that's personal experience right there. You had him on your team and he sucked. And I've just been watching him.
I like the moves that Dubas made and guys that he brought in. Again, there could have been different people, but I think the amount of people he brought in to fight for jobs, the whole thing about can you replace Zach Hyman? And 4 years ago, they're kind of like, why is this guy on Matthews' line? He's not really that good. He works hard, but he's not that good. If you're just replacing a guy who's like, Hyman's got skill, and we all love his heart and love how he played. But as far as skill level goes, there's lots of guys in the NHL that have that level of skill. It comes down to work ethic and heart. So basically, somebody comes in and you got to be like, if you work as hard as Hyman, you're probably going to get 15 goals by standing in front of the net, getting a pass from Mitch Marner. Just put in the effort. You're going to get your bounces because you're with two of the best players in the league. So I don't think Hyman's that hard to replace. Love the guy, but I don't think he's that hard to replace.
What you just said, though, about standing in front of the net and getting passes from Marner and stuff makes me wish we somehow had JVR still. I don't know if we could ever afford that guy, but he scored every goal within, 3 feet of the net.
He did, but his work ethic was questionable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if his hands around the net were insane, but if we're looking for that guy who's a big body, maybe Nick Ritchie is that guy.
Yeah.
I think he is, based on nothing at all.
Enthusiasm.
Hope. A lot of hope.
Hope.
How do you guys feel about this year? There's a lot of we were really down last year. There's been disappointments in the past. How does this one register coming into this year?
I'm excited. I think this is going to be a potentially very good season. I don't know if it'll feel quite as epically good as last season did, but last season was kind of an anomaly. Again, just constantly beating on the same teams. I think there's a sort of a tendency to find a rhythm that, was really working for us. But I think there's enough of our core still here. And with the new blood, I'm looking forward to the season more than I thought I would, obviously, at the end of the playoffs. I wasn't as sad as the guys in the dressing room, though. Spoiler alert, there's a lot of emotion in that dressing room after it all falls apart.
I think that they're a better team. I think maybe the new guys are probably less emotionally interesting than, Jumbo Joe and Bogo and stuff, but I think maybe that it's actually a better team.
You guys remember the Saturday Night Live parody commercial for the dating service, Lowered Expectations?
Yeah.
And I love that feeling. I like the fact that, you know what? The regular season, as long as we make the playoffs, the regular season does have its importance to find roles and practice and get your things and work out the bugs and figure out who's going to be your key players. But I kind of feel like that I'm just curious to see what happens. I have lowered expectations, and I feel really good about that and relaxed. So it's like, okay, let's see what I'm looking forward to it. And they also got to prove a little something to us, but yeah, lowered expectations, bring it on. I'm excited to see how some of these guys work out.
Yeah, I got that funny kind of wait till it goes on sale feeling, where I like it, but I'm going to wait until the playoffs, to get excited. I think, because we all got excited throughout the course of the year. They were playing fantastic, went on these long runs, 11 games in a row without a loss for our goalies, setting records, like things like that. So kind of got caught up in all that. The reality is it can all end with a good goalie that you're facing up against. So it'd be nice to see a little bit of adversity. I don't want to have to necessarily finish on top to see amazing things throughout the regular season. I just want to see some battle, and then I'll start to get excited when we're in round 2. After I've seen the guys fight back from losses or to show so much dominance that they earn that because it feels a little bit like a new team, and I'm still not 100% sold on what we got going on in net. I almost want an unknown guy for some reason, like Jack Campbell. I think he's got a good attitude and stuff like that, but Mrazek is a guy that I've seen from around the league and stuff, and that's why I asked earlier, has he ever won or been a part of a winning team? I think there's something there for goalies. The game is won from the posts out, clearly.
So sort of in the goalie position, you'd rather have an all or nothing, somebody who's been a champion or somebody you've never heard of.
Yeah.
Nice tie into the series name, right? Last year with all those accomplishments, I think it's great in a way that they had those accomplishments and then the failure as far as growth is concerned, because it's sort of like, okay, you got those stuff out of the way. You won a Rocket Richard. You had a goalie record. You finished top of the division. Those are amazing things. Pat on the back.
Means nothing.
But in this world, in the real big show, it doesn't mean anything. So now your next accomplishment, none of those, and to them, they'll be like, great, that doesn't matter. The only thing that matters, as much as they said it last year, the only thing that matters is the playoffs. It's hit home finally because they got some of those other things they needed to accomplish out of the way. They're great career things, but that's not the ultimate prize. So
and getting those guys in like Jumbo, Foligno, Simmons, they didn't amount to anything, when it came down to it in the playoffs. And that's why, John, what you said about Richie and some of these other players that are coming in, and go, hey, let's see what's going on with these guys. Because when I looked at the other teams that we were playing against, these were names of people that, just seemed to be the right role players that were fitting into the team correctly, played amazing, stayed healthy, and plowed their way through the tough 7-game overtimes, all that kind of stuff to squeak out those wins. It's a freaking long campaign,
I wanted Foligno to work out, and he was so happy to be here. It sucked that he got hurt and hurt bad, and that would have been an interesting guy, I suppose, in the one that got away type of thing. They couldn't have afforded to keep him, but it would have been interesting to see what he would have been like a whole season with the guys.
Yeah. You've been listening to or you will be listening to the Leafs Power Dump, because this is obviously a preseason episode.
There's one thing we didn't address before we wrap this up, though, is the Rascal.
I think the Rascal's back.
Has anybody heard from him?
Sure, he's a holdout right now, but
anybody heard from him? Yeah, is it negotiation? Is that what's going on?
Yeah,
I heard a rumor.
I don't know.
Well, I heard a rumor that after the series and everything went down, he was so heartbroken, that he was in some monastery,
really,
like Belgium. Just
it's tied into the whole Huawei thing. He's being held.
Against his will.
Yeah.
So it's not a holdout. He's not a holdout. He's being held.
He's in a holding cell.
Yeah, he's being held.
He's a tough guy to pin down, man. Tough guy to pin down.
I have confidence that provided he managed to get his vaccinations, he'll use his 5G skills to get out of whatever Huawei prison he's in.
Well, next week we got some cool topics I think we're going to try to cover, if it is next week or whenever we get. The teaser is the goal song, WTF.
The goal song.
Do some research.
Okay, let's do that one.
Maybe it's Michael McDonald. Maybe we bring in something.
Maybe just like when the Blue Jays come up to bat, they play the song of that guy after you score.
I think that's a great idea. They should choose their own song.
The DJ comes to you and says, "Hey, what song do you want?" And you come to him and you say,
"If you score,
When Mikheyev scores, they're going to be going, what did he pick? We haven't got it.
It'll be something by Lawrence.
I did it again.
That also won't be happening until sometime in February, apparently, according to. But we'll deal with Mikheyev in the next podcast.
Yeah.
There needs to be a
Yeah.
segment for old Superman,
The Cobra.
the Cobra.
Well, boys,
All right.
it has been awesome. Happy
Absolutely.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, man. Happy Thanksgiving.
And we'll,
Welcome back.
We'll talk to you soon.
Ciao.
All right.
Go, Leafs, go.
Did we do an outro? Did he do? You were listening to the Power Dump.
Kinda.
Okay. See ya.
All right. See you later.
Leafs Power Dump Podcast is Kirk Comrie, Chad Maker, Paul Zimick, and John Galway. Copyright 2021 Firewallet Productions.